Boldwood presents Dating Doctor Love, written by Rachel Dove and read by Rosalind Steele. Chapter 1. I wonder if blocking your parents' email addresses is frowned upon these days. Is ghosting the people who gave you life a thing? Drew Barrymore divorced hers, right? She seems to be doing pretty well. Excuse me, did you ask me something? Chloe Henry blushed furiously, remembering that she wasn't alone on her lunch break, and that the man currently sharing her space probably thought she was weird. Speaking out loud again? Great. Sitting in the doctor's lounge, grabbing a brief break from work, she scrolled through the half-dozen passive-aggressive emails her parents had sent her in the last 48 hours. Even the one from her sister was enough to make her want to throw her phone at the wall. She'd sent her a number for a Botox specialist, citing that at the last family dinner she'd noticed her deep frown lines. The deep frown lines were caused by the ruddy dinner in the first place, and the fact that she'd felt so sick being there. Sunday dinners at her parents' should be sponsored by alcohol and wrinkle removers, quite frankly, like the American Super Bowl. Their half-time show could be a therapist who specialised in dealing with family politics, where the dinner wasn't the only thing that was roasted. Even here, at work, they were getting to her, snipping little pieces right out of her soft, vulnerable underbelly. Lately, it seemed the only time she felt normal was when she was at home with her cat, watching her favourite shows and hiding from the world. Her couch was already calling her name, as she turned to the guy and tried to pretend she hadn't just thought vomited all over him. No, sorry, talking to myself, Nothing will drive you quite as crazy as family, am I right? The agency doctor sitting to her right was looking at her as if she'd had some kind of mental episode, which, to be fair, wasn't far off the mark. A good mental episode would almost be welcome about now. Maybe she could even get a day off out of it. Head to the beach or something. Anything other than work every hour she was awake. Even when she did sleep these days, her dreams were filled with work. The other night, she jolted awake after 2 hours of fitful sleep. Her hands were raised as if she'd been performing surgery on the rumpled sheets. When the man next to her didn't even try to reply, Chloe felt herself needing to fill the silence, which was typical of her lately. She was so used to trying to explain herself these days, she overcompensated and generally made things worse. Her family triggered her need to defend her choices, which left her snappish, detached. Or it could go the other way entirely, where she felt the need to narrate her life to the people around her. Like now, when the anxiety bubbled out of her in word bile to a complete stranger. The need to be poised and professional at all times was grating. It drained her energy, acting like she was so on all the time. Alert, ever watching for a keen observation or unkind word to hit her between the eyes like a silent sniper. These days, it felt like she was in the Truman Show, and her family were the avid viewers. She didn't know who to trust, who was a mere colleague, and who was a paid actor in on the secret. The only time she was truly herself, no one was there to see it. She was so tired of feeling the need to smooth over every aspect of the parts of herself she forgot to hide. Yet you keep doing it. Stop talking. You're scaring him. She caught herself gripping her phone too tight and loosened her fingers. Or maybe not. Sorry. Again. Bad day. Bad week, actually. More silence. Or maybe you don't know on that score either. I'll shut up now. I wish I could shut up forever. Trying to appear normal is exhausting. The doctor raised a sceptical brow but said nothing, returning to his rather boring-looking ham salad sandwich. Sighing, Chloe closed down her email and returned to the article she'd been reading about Dr. Camilla Wainwright, a woman who'd gone through medical school with her. They had been at the same level, both obsessed with medicine and perfection, the cream of their class, both set for stellar careers, accolades in their fields. The difference was, when they qualified, Chloe had defied her parents by going to work within the NHS instead of private practice, and Camilla had gone into charitable work, jetting around the world to swoop in and save lives. Her smiling face beamed up at Chloe from the article. National Geographic had hailed her as a miracle worker, citing her initiatives in bringing cutting-edge surgeries to the furthest corners of the world. It made her sound like she was performing brain surgery in the middle of nowhere with nothing more than a spoon and some tape. Which, knowing Camilla, wasn't that far from the truth. Looking at these photos of her, something ached in Chloe's chest. The envy felt like heartburn, ravaging her as she took in the glossy spread of what NG had called the beautiful travelling doc. To further emphasise the point, there was a photo of Camilla on a tropical beach, wearing a palm leaf green bikini and a stethoscope. Yep, a frickin' stethoscope around her tanned neck, like she was not only beach-ready but life-saving ready too. Ugh, that tan. Even her nails were painted in a bright coral colour, long and perfect. Chloe couldn't remember the last time she'd done her nails, or even been near any sunshine. Her skin tone would make a vampire do a double take at this point. Camilla, in this photo, looked like she was glowing right off the page. Chloe made a mental note to try the fake tan again, next time she had a day off. Or a day off which wasn't consumed by sleeping most of the day, watching TV and doing laundry so she could have clean underwear for her next shift. Oh, who was she kidding? She'd end up buying more online instead, same as she had for the past month. It wasn't the laundry, the tan, or the look that she envied so much. She loved her job, and the hours she put in were worth the sacrifices. It was the freedom that shone out from Camilla's sun-kissed face that she coveted, the look of a woman who lived life for her and no one else. She looked happy, peaceful, like she was doing what she truly wanted to do without anyone telling her she was off track. Chloe's mother had emailed her the link to the article, which was why the comparisons between them stung just that bit more. Still, she kept reading it, applying lemon juice directly to the fresh cuts each little detail slashed through her. Stupid, happy, sun-kissed Camilla. In another life, they'd have been friends. The best kind, who pushed each other to be better. Chloe could still remember the way Camilla's eyes had narrowed when Chloe had introduced herself at the mixer they'd attended before their internship had started. "Oh," she'd pouted, looking Chloe up and down as if she was looking for the label. "Henry, eh? One of those Henrys?" Camilla's family had money too, but they were bankers or hedge fund types, not in the medical profession. The fact that Chloe was from a legacy medical family had obviously gotten out before she could even attempt to show people who she was and what she could do on her own. She'd worked just as hard as everyone else, but her surname held weight, akin to a millstone, which she often felt like she was pushing in front of her. From that day on, it was like Camilla could see through her need to prove herself, to be the best. She also knew that Camilla assumed Chloe's drive and determination was arrogance, even when it couldn't be further from the truth. Chloe never corrected her, of course. What would be the point? She'd already formed her opinions, another chiselled mark on the stone she'd dragged around. She'd been a little more naive back then, at the start of things. Hopeful that people would eventually see her for what she was, rather than who she was related to. She knew better now, was hardened against it for the most part, but she didn't forget it. Every look and snide comment was buried in her memory, popping up in her weaker moments. She still remembered the punch it had elicited to her gut all the same. Of course, when your family quite literally has their name on the research buildings of some of the best medical facilities in the UK, it was kind of hard to hide your heritage. Yes, she'd stammered, feeling small behind the shadow of her family. The walls of the mere moments ago friendly mixer closed in like bars on a gilded cage. I guess I am. Legacy, eh? Camilla had smiled. Must be nice. Her smile didn't even try to reach her eyes, and Chloe knew in that moment that her hopes for forming friendships and a normal career were futile. Wherever she went, she would be Chloe Henry, daughter of the great Archibald and Yvette Henry, little sister of Elizabeth, all pioneers in their respective fields and not a wallflower among them. Facts which only served to point out Chloe's difference in ever more glaring detail over the years. She didn't want the accolades or the buildings named after her. She wanted to be herself. Geeky and socially awkward, sure, but still her. Doing what she loved, making a real difference. Experiencing life without everything the Henry name brought with it, which made her sound like a privileged brat, but in fact was quite the opposite. She ran her finger across the screen to read more of the article. There were more photos. Colourful, glossy insights into her former rival's seemingly perfect life. Camilla grinning outside a tent surrounded by fearsome-looking soldiers. Another one of her holding a small child, thick forest behind them. Camilla standing on a deserted beach, a leather old-style doctor's bag in one hand, as she looked pensively into the distance. Okay, that one was a bit much, come on. Yesterday, Chloe had spent 3 hours in surgery treating a guy who'd been stabbed for trying to avoid his car getting jacked from outside his own house, and the stabber had still nicked his car, and promptly wrapped it around a tree, attempting to evade police. It had been a stunningly stupid move which had landed him in the adjacent operating room, with her colleague operating on him to save his leg, which he'd mangled in the wreck. Chloe didn't exactly want to draw parallels, and she would much rather be treating Joe public, but the article still struck a chord nonetheless. It was the pure smug freedom that got her. They'd gone through the same journey, but their destinations in life couldn't be more different. The fact her mother had sent her the article link only made things worse. That silent recrimination beating the familiar drum of "you're not good enough." All through her training, it had been, "And how is Camilla doing?" and, "Well, I hope you beat Camilla." As if training to be a surgeon was some Miss UK pageant. Even now, a National Geographic spread was something else they would use as a comparison. The next dinner with her parents was going to be about as much fun as taking a cheese grater to the face. "Stupid Camilla," she muttered, and ham salad sandwich guy gave her another odd look and moved to the next chair, putting his back to her entirely. Finishing her own quinoa salad with a sigh, she dumped her Tupperware container in her locker and went back to work. "Dr. Henry, you can't have eaten lunch already." Chloe shrugged at her favourite scrub nurse as she got back to the theatres. She'd had the carjacking surgery and a splenectomy already today. This afternoon she was pretty light on scheduled surgeries, but having to push a surgery to deal with the emergent case that had spilled over from the ER, she was looking at 2 more surgeries before she could dictate the post-surgical notes, deal with her administration duties, and then think about what she had scheduled for the day after that. Yep, salad. Checked my emails. Depressed myself thoroughly. Perhaps I should pause my Nat Geo subscription for a bit. Lizzie threw her a dubious look. "Salad again? Girl, you need a pizza once in a while. Carbs are not the enemy. OR2 is all set up. The patient is ready, but they have questions." Chloe nodded with a smile. "No problem. I'll go up to the surgical ward now if we're all set. Did you speak to stores about the supply issue?" "I did, but they said something about a backlog with distribution." Chloe huffed. "I'll chase again, but since you asked us to stockpile a couple of weeks ago, we're not in any danger yet." "Good, but please tell them that we need to have the supplies by the end of tomorrow at the latest. Ask one of the other nurses to do it if you need to. You're in surgery this afternoon." Brushing a stray strand of brown hair back into her tight bun, she headed straight up to the surgical ward. The second she hit the floor, she knew that the bosses were there. The bunch of suits near the nurses' station was a dead giveaway, in addition to the plastered-on smiles of the staff and the fact that Dr. Jeffries was also present. He was normally heading to the golf course at this time on a Friday, leaving the rest of the surgeries to her and the others while he did his admin, otherwise known as the back nine. "Dr. Henry!" Dr. Jeffries spotted her, beckoning her over to the crowd of trustees. "Glad you could join us." Chloe felt her jaw pulse from the gritting of her teeth. If she had to work under this guy much longer, she'd need to wear a mouth guard. Between him and the dreams, her teeth were going to be stumpy little nubs before she was 40. "Yes," she smiled through closed teeth. "I just completed my latest surgery, prepping for the next." He waved a hand at her. Sure. Well, the trustees are here about the new changes coming to the department." The suits were all looking at her, and she felt her pulse quicken. More changes? Like what? A 60-hour work week would be nice, but she wouldn't bother holding her panicked breath. "Changes, sir?" "Yes." One of the suits walked over, offering a hand that looked like it had been bathed in moisturizer. She was betting the closest thing this guy had gotten to cutting was his Weasley chin when he shaved. "Todd Archer, HR, nice to meet you." Taking his hand, she shook it firmly. Her parents had always told her a firm handshake said a lot about a person. The way his hand jolted under her grip told her a lot about him, too. "Nice to meet you." "I hear good things," Todd grinned, nodding at Dr. Jeffries. "I thought the trustees would benefit from seeing how the department was working before we appoint the new head of surgery." Chloe's pulse thudded in her ears. Oh my God. This is it. This is what I've been waiting for. Why I have taken all of the stress, the late nights, the running of the department for Dr. Jeffries while he perfects his handicap on the golf course and takes all the credit. Now he was finally retiring, and she could actually do the job she was already doing for the most part, but with the title and the ability to make real changes, and finally get out from the glare of his little minion, too. She was surprised he wasn't here doing his best schmoozing act. "Right," she nodded, trying to look like she wasn't in the grip of a full-blown adrenaline rush. "Well, I have patients to see, but if you need anything, do let me know." "Well, actually, we do have an event coming up that we would like you to participate in." Dr. Jeffries was talking to the other suits now, and when Chloe looked over, she could swear he was pretending to swing a club. Ugh, typical. The board was a total sausage fest. She had tried to focus on the medicine, but it was hard when upper management was such a boys' club. With Dr. Jeffries leaving, it was now or never. If his protégé, Dr. Carson, got in, it would be more of the same. Worse, because Johnathan Carson was a smarmy git to boot. He treated her like his own personal PA whenever they were in company, even though their job titles and pay grades were the same, and he stared at her boobs whenever she had cause to talk to him. She was not going through all this just to end up with that for a boss. Her and her breasts would rather walk out of the door and go cap in hand to her parents. Either option would be worse than chewing glass, and she wasn't going to go down without a fight. She plastered on her best amiable smile and shone it Todd's way. "Event?" "Oh, yes!" Todd clapped his hands together. "The conference. It's been on the calendar for a while now, but He thumbed behind him. "We thought it would be an excellent opportunity to showcase the new candidates, and we have heard good things about you, Dr. Henry." "From Dr. Jeffries?" Todd blanched, and Chloe's heart stuttered in her chest. Of course it hadn't come from him. "Well, Dr. Jeffries does have his own opinions about a candidate, of course, but we at HR do prefer to take into account the whole picture." "Right." Chloe could feel her eyes narrowing. My surname, for example? To his credit, Todd at least tried to pretend he didn't know what she was referring to. For about half a second, before his mask slipped. Well, like I said, we do want to take into account all of the factors before we make a decision. I can email you the information on the conference. We will make sure adequate cover is provided for the department, of course. Nice. That would probably mean more work to catch up on when she got back. Locums tended to leave things messy paperwork-wise, and the nursing staff were overworked as it was. She'd have to rearrange her scheduled non-urgent surgeries, minimise the fallout. And Todd was still speaking. She tuned back in. Maybe you can speak to your family. We are looking for some additional speakers if you... I'll take a look at the information, Chloe cut in. My family won't be in attendance, sadly, but I am happy to give a talk, of course. She straightened the lapels on her lab coat to give herself a second to refocus. I'm sure you understand, my parents are very busy people. Todd's megawatt smile flickered and dimmed. Of course, Doctor. He offered her his baby-soft hand. I'll be in touch. Thank you, she nodded, gripping his hand just a little tighter than she needed to. I'm looking forward to the opportunity. Todd returned to the wall of suits, just in time for Dr. Jeffries to give him a slap on the back. Chloe watched them for a moment, all big bellowing laughs and inside jokes. She felt the hollow in her chest widen into a chasm as she thought of the hard work she'd done and the effort she still had lying in wait, like obstacles in her path. She'd been waiting for this so long, for Dr. Jeffries to finally announce his retirement, for her to take her shot at running the department she'd been looking after for the last few years. This was it, her chance. She didn't want to be part of the boys' club. She wanted to rise above it, change things, prove to everyone that she wasn't just a Henry, that she was a doctor in her own right and worthy of the job. She wanted it so badly she could taste it. If she had to ace this conference, rub shoulders with the suited and booted, she would do it. She would finally get out from under her family name and out of their shadow and into the light. Dr. Henry to the surgical suite, Dr. Henry to the surgical suite. She sighed at the tannoy announcement, took a glance at Dr. Jeffries, who was still holding court without a care in the world, and turning on her heel, headed back to work. Another few hours and she would be home. She could celebrate with an early night before getting right back to it tomorrow. Once she got this out of the way, maybe she'd have more time for some fun. The nurses were always asking her to go out for drinks. Maybe she could make it more than an annual thing for once. She could travel, see the world beyond the hospital or her place. Read those books she kept buying but never got around to reading. A date might be nice. Although finding someone who didn't balk at her ambition or her family might be asking too much. Someone not in the medical profession. A real-life man with a different job and the ability to talk about something other than surgeries or patient outcomes. At this point in her life, a nice meal with a cute guy was about all she could hope for. It didn't have to be anything world-shattering. An orgasm without batteries would do it. If she got the job, she would have space, opportunities to do something for her without having to run it up the flagpole to the many puppeteers pulling her strings. Maybe, just maybe, she could finally do what she wanted in all aspects of her life. And then she could figure out the rest. Chapter 2. 2 weeks later. You're killing me here, Logan. I hope you know that. When I stroke out, I'll be sending you my private medical bills. I'll make sure I get the best of care, too, so get that TV money of yours ready. It's not that bad. Not that bad? You're kidding me, right? I'm getting calls from all the major news channels asking for a comment on the fact that the biggest TV star in Britain is a huge lush and a slut. Hey, There's slut-shaming. Besides, I wasn't with any women last night. Couple of them tried to come home with me, but I shook 'em off. If he'd been seen taking a woman home, he would have bigger problems right now. A few had chatted him up in the club, but his heart wasn't in it lately. They wanted the TV star, not him. He was tired of empty, meaningless encounters with faceless females. Had been for a while. The whole club scene was getting a little tiresome, if he was honest with himself, but there wasn't much else to fill his time with. There was only so much gym he could stomach. His friends were all in the biz, superficial acquaintances at best. Being famous since he was a teen had alienated him from his old school buddies. The irony that he was so lonely while everyone thought him a party boy was funny most of the time. Not so much now he was pushing 30. To be honest, sometimes he kind of wished he was getting up to some of the things the media insisted he was doing. At least then he'd be actually getting something out of it. These days he couldn't even have a night out without being accused of sleeping with anyone he was standing next to. He had been caught out last night, sure, but he had gone home alone. Like he always did these days. Just because women were snapped throwing themselves at him didn't mean he was out there with his catcher's mitt. If someone had sold a story to the tabloids, it was all BS. Right now, the only woman he was in a relationship with was the 55-year-old cleaner who came to his place twice a week, and she was happily married and didn't own a TV, which was one of the reasons he'd employed her in the first place. Throwing back the covers, Logan dragged his hungover body out of bed and headed to his huge bathroom. His voice echoed in the sleek tiled space. Whatever crap they are tattling, it will blow over. The season's wrapped. We have a while till the promo starts. The gossip rags will sink their teeth into something else before we know it. I'll just lay low. Oh, yeah, his agent scoffed in his ear. Logan rolled his eyes, hitting the speakerphone button and squeezing paste onto his electric toothbrush. Like last night? I have photos of you coming at me from all angles, Logan. Very unflattering photos of you stumbling out of the hooky lounge, looking like you drank half the damn bar. Oh, right. That was what those flashes were. He figured sneaking out the back way into a waiting car had helped him escape the paps. Obviously not. He tried to remember, but the whole thing was pretty hazy. Well, it was just a celebration, you know, for the rap. The rap party was 3 days ago, Logan. You mean to tell me that you've been partying since then? Do we need to talk rehab? Logan shoved the brush in his mouth, letting the noise drown everything out. He caught his reflection in the mirror, wincing at what he saw. His apartment had the best lighting, especially in the bathroom, but even that couldn't get rid of the green tinge to his skin, or the dark eye bags. Reaching into one of the drawers, he pulled out some eye masks and stuck them under his puffy eye bags. If he went out today, the last thing he wanted was to get snapped again looking like death warmed over. His thick, usually luscious locks were wrecked. He had glitter stuck in the clumps, and the hair gel he'd slicked through it the day before was now sprinkled through his strands like a cheesy dandruff ad. Logan, do I need to make a call, or what? No, Logan huffed. He was getting pretty sick of people having opinions about him enjoying life. Weren't they the ones who had moulded him in the first place? I don't have a problem, Pete. I don't need rehab. And if any sniff of that kind of rumour gets out there, we'll be dealing with a much larger problem. I have the casting call to think about, and... Logan. Pete's tone dropped off a cliff. At this rate, you get caught up in one more scandal and I won't be able to cast you anymore. Have you not seen the news this morning? Logan winced at himself in the mirror as he rinsed his mouth of toothpaste. I said I didn't see the paps, jeez. Not your news, dipshit. Belinda Jenkins. The shit is hitting the fan for her, which means your ridiculous shenanigans are not going to fly anymore. What? Throwing his brush down on the counter, Logan headed to his lounge and flicked on the widescreen TV. The news channel came up, and he didn't need to put the volume up to know what was going on. The headline on the ticker tape at the bottom said it all. Network executive's husband in cheating scandal. Creator of Doctor Love files for divorce after telling photos released. Logan turned up the volume, a sense of foreboding roiling through him as the newsreader turned to her co-host. This is bad news for the network, really. We have the star of Doctor Love, Logan Broderick, seen out most nights, with the drinking and the various women around him, and now the creator's husband is photographed in flagrante with another woman. Given that the show is marketed as being a cornerstone of drama, romance and yearning, I think the fans are going to have a hard time with all this. It really looks like what we love to see on the screen does not translate into real life. Right, her colleague said almost gleefully. I mean, half the world is in love with Dante Love, but Logan is definitely not husband material. Belinda must be feeling pretty embarrassed right now, especially given that she's spoken so openly over the years about how her inspiration for some of the best romance storylines on screen was inspired by her own marriage. Exactly. It looks like Belinda is really having trouble keeping the leading men in her life under control. Shit, Logan cursed. This isn't good. Exactly. Shit, Pete echoed. Belinda is pissed. I've already had her on the phone this morning, threatening not to renew your contract. She said, and I repeat this verbatim, tell your star to get his crap together and keep it in his pants, or I will send kill pages faster than he can zip up. She is out for blood, Logan. This isn't good at all. I'm trying to do damage control, but it's make or break time. Having the main star on her show being out all hours drinking, draped in ladies, it's not a good look. And now her husband's been caught stepping out, your news is tied right in with hers. I calmed her down once, but now she's in the firing line with the media. It's going to take more than a few apologies. The supple leather of his couch squeaked as Logan sank down into the cushions. Okay, so how about a fruit basket then? Flowers? Flicking through the channels, Logan stopped when he saw his own face pop up. A rerun of one of his best episodes, when Dante Love not only took down an angry patient in the A&E waiting room, but also saved the life of one of the show's scrub nurses by performing brain surgery. With a broken arm, no less. The ratings had been golden for that one. Maybe he should remind Belinda of it, how pivotal he was to the show. Flowers? Pete screeched back. You'd have to send her the frickin' Chelsea Flower Show to get out of this without consequences. We need to get out in front of this. Go dark. Go dark? Logan felt whatever colour was left in his cheeks drain away. No, Pete. Don't make me do it. I can't. Oh, you can and you will. The whole world saw you in that club with a load of women last night, half cut. You were photographed coming out with women. The exact opposite of your character, who is a goddamn saint and basically a pin-up for any woman with half a brain and a romantic yearning for Mr. Perfect. Dante Love is not the type to be sucking face with models and peeing off hotel balconies. That happened once, and I told you. I woke up and thought I was in the bathroom. Yeah, you mentioned that. I keep covering for you, Logan, but lately it's getting too much. The optics are not good, whichever way you slice it, and while you aren't Dante Love, he is linked to you. When photos like these come out, the press brings the other persona into the equation, which means more press for the show, and lately yours is not good. Belinda is not about to stand another scandal for your sorry ass, not after her own life blew up. I'm telling you right now, even going dark might not cut it this time. But what about the film? With all this press, I don't want to lose it. It's my next step. I was made for that movie. I want that role. It's what we've been working towards for years. Oh, this is not good. I've really messed up this time. The irony is, I've been trying to distract myself from the stress of waiting to hear about the role, and now my stupid distractions might cost me the thing I need to get people to see me differently. Of course, I can't tell Pete that, because, like the rest of the planet, he only sees what the media does. A cocky actor with no attachments, doing whatever the heck he likes. Because the press cast me in that role a while ago, and I never bothered to correct them. Pete's sighs were his tell. When he sighed, like he was taking a breathalyzer test, it meant he was well and truly mad. Yeah, well. I mean, they're going to still send the contract, right? We'll still get the movie. Logan. So I can't go dark, okay? That's the worst possible thing I could do right now. It makes me look guilty, if anything. No, I say we ride this out like normal. They wanted me before this, you said so yourself. Auditions are soon. I was planning to be seen out exercising, you know? I had that combat trainer lined up, and I thought we could be seen out in Hyde Park, showing how much effort I was putting in for the physicality of the shoot. Logan, I can't even get the studio to return my call, let alone talk about the casting. A few shots of you flashing your six-pack with some ex-squaddy personal trainer is not going to slide you into the biggest war epic since the last damn war epic. It's set in World War II, and the hero is a dedicated officer pining for a girl back home. Not exactly a match for your Playboy image, is it? Get Mr. Pissed and bang a girl in every port is not the lead actor they're going to be chasing. Going dark is the only choice if you want to have a contract for anything. Don't forget, we haven't signed on the dotted line for the new season yet. Dante Love can quite easily fall down a mine shaft, Joey. Logan winced at the Friends reference when one of the main characters, an actor called Joey Tribbiani, got a little too cocky with the writers of the show he was part of, and the next thing he knew, he was being killed off and written out of the show by the very same. And he was a doctor on the show, too. The parallels were scary right now, especially since it was something they joked about when they first got the deal for Dante Love. At the time, it was funny, because it seemed impossible that it would happen in real life. Now, Logan could practically see the lift doors looming in front of him. Shit. Okay, I get it. I messed up again. I'm sorry. But what can we do? You know what the press are like. They make up stories where there are none anyway. Even if I stop going out, they'll still try to find dirt. This Belinda thing is big news, and if they can tie me in with that, they are going to keep coming. Belinda won't believe I've changed, Pete. No one does. So change her mind. Show the real you for once. Yeah, right. I don't even know who that is anymore. Why should anyone believe it when I don't? I never set out to be this guy. I don't even do a fraction of the stuff I get accused of, but what's the point in telling them that? Me sitting at home every night reading lines doesn't sell their papers or get their subscribers clicking those boxes. It hit him again, a fresh wave. The people who know the real me are not here anymore. My point of reference is gone forever. Pete, you know for a fact that I am not out there doing a lot of the crap they think I am, and you still think I'm messing up. How am I supposed to convince everyone when you don't buy it? What am I supposed to do? Start crochet? Instagram live me sitting on the couch on my own every night? Well, you joke, but that's not exactly out of left field. You're not a bad guy. I would have dropped you a long time ago if I thought you were the man everyone else does. But even I am starting to get tired of the playboy persona, Logan. We need people to realise that you're not as bad as they make out. But it will take work. Discipline. Which, aside from your work ethic, you don't seem to have much of these days. It's your downtime you need a babysitter for. With the Belinda scandal, you are going to be roasted over the coals all over again. The optics are not going to convince any studio that you are stable enough for this kind of leading role. It's going to be a box office smash, and they won't take chances on the lead. Your character, Dante, is a faithful doctor, pining for a woman he can't have, just like the film character, which did mean you were a sure thing before this. You were first pick, but the radio silence is scary. They're probably casting their net out there already for an alternative, and we can't afford to let them sign someone else while you pull your finger out. We need to play that angle IRL for once. Angle? Logan frowned. I'm not pining for anyone, Pete. I don't even bring women home anymore. I got over all that. When I'd finally pulled myself out of my grieving hole of mourning the mother who'd raised me, the woman who had been at every audition, driving me to classes and cheering me on. It was just the two of us back then, and she looked after me. When I hit the big time and she needed to be the one looked after, I was there, for all of it. Used my money to make her life better. Get her the best health care, the freedom to focus on her health and not worry about money or working to make ends meet for once. When she passed, I was lost. And yeah, I didn't handle it well. Let outside influences cheer me up? What else could I do? I didn't want to talk about it. Couldn't talk about it. Keeping her out of the media was always important, and her death didn't change that. The press never knew about Logan Broderick and the wonderful parent that had been taken too early. Pete had earned his money there. They'd crafted this persona of a confident young actor with seemingly no backstory, distracted them with tidbits of nothing, beautiful women on his arm, half-naked photo shoots. Who cares what he's thinking or going through? Look at those washboard abs. After the funeral, there was always a party to go to, a red carpet to shimmy down. Dante Love was the character he hid behind till his antics pushed Logan out from behind his shadow, like a dastardly alter ego. Numbness and distraction saw him through the worst of it, but when he finally got his shit together and the noose of grief loosened from his neck, the die was already cast. The world had seen him work through it in all the wrong ways and never even saw his hidden pain. It had solidified the mould they'd cast for him as the partying Lothario, and by the time he'd realised it, it was too late to convince them otherwise. Once the pretty boy, always the pretty boy. He doesn't have serious stuff going on. He's here for the fun. And dating? Not a chance. The type of woman he would have wanted to take home to his mother, if she were still here, was not looking his way. Not beyond a passing glance or a judgmental side-eye. He rattled out a sigh that gave Pete's a run for their money, feeling his mood darken. Maybe he was kidding himself. Perhaps his time had run out. He should have put paid to this earlier instead of leaning into it. The mantra he'd repeated to himself, "Fine, I'll be who they think I am," was running through his head, but this time it sounded like a warning bell. He wasn't going to go down without a fight. Not when he was so close to getting the movie role he'd always wanted to play and finally proving to everyone that he was a serious actor and not a one-trick pony. Dante was his breakout role, but he didn't want to stop there. He had more to show people, more roles he longed to sink his teeth into. Most of all, he wanted to be the man his mother had raised again, a man worth taking home to meet the family. I'm not just going to sit in some hole and let them bury me, Pete. I'll stop the bar stuff. It'll blow over when they have nothing to photograph, right? No skeletons in the closet. Seriously, if they think someone out there is going to have fresh dirt on me, they'll be digging a long time. Thank God for small mercies, Pete muttered under his breath. We need to play this just right. The angle is quiet bachelor, Logan. Pulling a Dante is the only way we have a chance. Don't be seen with any other women. I mean it. If you see a granny in the street, walk the other way. You need this, Logan. One more scandal, and you'll lose more than the movie. As he looked at the muted headlines flashing across the screen in front of him, Logan's usual rebuttal died on his lips. The media were ready to flay him alive. Women's groups were coming out saying that he was a toxic male, judging by the tweets scrolling down the right-hand side of the newscaster. Belinda and her husband flashed up on the screen, and the husband was being lauded as a killer of romance. A frustrated growl dropped from his mouth as he saw the truth of what his agent was saying. He was in trouble. This time, he couldn't get out of it with a cheeky grin and a press release. Okay, fine. So, what else? An interview, maybe? Set my side of the story straight? What side of the story? Pictures don't lie, Logan. You have no defence. They will never believe that you're some lonely bachelor while you're out there living it up. The Dante Love persona is in the bin right now, covered in shame and body glitter. No interviews. You need to lay low. Like, way low. Pete's voice drifted off, and Logan swallowed hard. He knew what it meant when he got like this. It meant those sly cogs in that brain of his were turning, and usually it meant what came out of his mouth next, Logan would hate. I'm booking you a hotel for a couple of weeks. Off the beaten track, out of the city. You can hole up there while I deal with this shitstorm. Take your scripts, learn your lines, stay off social media. In fact, stay off the internet full stop. I need you to disappear, Logan. But no buts, no whining, no phone. I mean it. Start packing. I'll send you the details and the name I booked you in under. Thought I couldn't use my phone, he whined childishly. Cute, Pete shot back, in a tone that implied he found it anything but. Stay off social media. Don't even order takeout. I'll send a car in an hour. Be ready. And Logan... Logan's sigh rattled his hangover. Yeah. This is your absolute last chance. Don't fuck this up. Peeling off a note from the wad in his pocket, Logan thanked the porter for bringing his bags to the door. I've got it from here, mate, thanks. No problem, the chirpy guy beamed back. Enjoy your stay, Mr. Broderick. Wife's a big fan. Logan pulled down the peak of his hat lower while trying to slide the keycard into the lock to get away.